a lot of room for improvement, man. And I just like having things to improve on every week.
Yeah.
That's the feeling I like, bro.
Yeah, we're growing.
It is 1:07 p.m., January 1st, 2025.
What? Happy New Year.
My name is Derek Ahlswede.
I'm Ross Field.
This is the AC Sports Podcast. Follow us on YouTube at AC Sports Podcast.
Let's go.
What a week. What a time to be alive. What a time to be a football fan.
Yeah. It's exciting, man. I'm looking forward to this year, looking forward to the near future and getting the playoffs underway. Let's go.
I'm just big on appreciating every single day these days, Ross, you know?
Yeah.
We live in peace.
That's true.
That said, we can start off the pod with a tragedy almost every week, which is just the way of the world. Looks like the Sugar Bowl is going to be postponed.
One day, yeah.
A day? I personally, you can find tragedy anywhere in the world if you want to look for it. So I make the decision to just kind of willfully ignore a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Personally.
Yeah.
You don't strike me as a guy that kind of is a doom scroller necessarily. No. Yeah.
Yeah. Try to keep it optimistic, but it is frustrating that these incidents seem to occur so often.
Yeah.
It's like you're kind of immune to it in a way, and that's scary and frustrating.
You kind of got to be, though.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't want to start the pod off with this. I don't want to start the year off with this.
Right.
We're going all positive, baby, all progress.
Let's go. How about New Year's resolution? Did we get there? You got one?
To start making some money on this thing.
Oh, let's go.
That's what it's all about. I'm in my flow state, baby. I'm in my SGA flow. Yeah. Okay?
Is he number one for MVP right now? Gotta be.
Yeah.
He's so efficient, man. It's crazy. I like that. You're in the flow state.
I'm not in my Aaron Rodgers flow right now. I'm in my SGA flow. Different flows. Poor guy.
Yeah. Tough way to end the year for them.
Yeah, you know, the Canadian fell off in hip hop. So we have to have a Canadian step up in basketball is the way I look at it. So shout out SGA. What a week. What a week. Christmas week of football.
Yeah.
Really a magical week. I guess this is the first time we've had it on Christmas. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Stealing a little thunder from the NBA.
I like the pun there. Thunder. Yeah. How was the week for you football-wise?
It was good. I enjoyed watching some Christmas games. Thought we had a couple good matchups. Was with my mom, my sister, enjoying them. Yeah, it was awesome. Chiefs, dangerous, playing their best ball of the year right now. Womp womp, and look out for those Ravens.
You brought up a good point about the teams that kind of just make sure they're kind of solid and get in the playoffs throughout the year, and then turn it on. I think there's a real element of there's a real physical element to this, right? Because you look at Jayden getting exhausted in overtime, and when he's talking to Chris Sims pregame, it's like, damn, I'm seeing the college season ending. I still have, a couple big games to go, and then playoffs. Like, it's tiring.
Yeah.
And as a rookie quarterback, especially, like, that's the part we might kind of forget. That's the real
totally.
What's the word? Disadvantage for a rookie.
Yeah.
As great as he is and has looked, how tired is he going to get? So,
yeah,
you brought up the point with the Rams and the Chiefs and these teams that kind of maybe tried some things out coaching-wise, strategy-wise. But also, I'm not saying they didn't really rest their guys, but I wonder if they have more energy going in. Are they less exhausted going into this time of the year?
Preserve it a little bit. I do think they do that.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean that's kind of known in the NBA. You're constantly resting people for that purpose.
Well, when you know what to expect, right? You've been there before. It's a great point about Jayden. You're gearing up for the most important games of your first season down the stretch, and you've never played this many games.
Right.
Because you're going from college to the NFL. Think about college basketball. You play like a 35 to 40 game season, and then in your first year in the NBA, you jump to 80. You literally double.
I mean, baseball, you go through the minors first, so that's a little different. But I mean, similar fractionally, they played 40 games as well in baseball.
Yeah, it's a little different.
So that said, when you're a rookie, you are your youngest, and you are able to recover your quickest. So that can maybe offset that a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, well, and luckily for Jayden, he's an absolute freak.
Dog.
Like, dude, I was thinking about this. If I'm in the NFC, I'm so scared of them because, like, the comparison for Jayden is Lamar, naturally. Mm-hmm. But Jayden has come into the league with such a better developed passing skill than Lamar. Mm-hmm. We're finally seeing Lamar take that step forward, and he's been a great thrower this year. But early on, he was not like that.
No more running.
Yeah, and didn't really trust that and needed to develop that. But Jayden has that already. Now, Jayden's probably not as explosive or as fast as Lamar, but he is still very elusive and a terrific runner and a total dual threat and super dynamic. And if I'm in the NFC, like, dude, look out. How do you guard this guy in the playoffs? I don't know. I think they're a super dangerous threat right now.
I mean, the triple threat with Jayden is his mentality and his temperament.
Ooh, I like it.
And I guess the dig on 2-time MVP, possibly 3-time MVP Lamar is that when it gets to that point in the playoffs, something isn't clicking. And you can kind of attribute it to maybe his mentality. He doesn't live up to the moment mentally.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of all we can come up with since the physical tools are always there.
Yeah.
You know, maybe Harbaugh isn't like an elite coach. Maybe that goes into why they're not making it to the Super Bowl. But Jayden's mentality from day one, we can't let that go as well. Like, it's one of the most impressive things about such an impressive player. So
yeah,
I appreciate that. We have a lot to get to today. I have some highlights from the week.
Okay, let's do it.
Not your normal highlights. We don't do what everyone's talking about on the AC Sports Podcast, okay?
No,
We're
don't.
unique.
Yes.
Unique Chico. Broncos Bengals Saturday night. Just what a magical game.
Fun.
Magical game. You know, you have the must-win factor for the Bengals. Also, the Broncos. I mean, it wasn't a must-win, we know, but they're still fighting for their playoff lives.
Yeah.
We have... Is Bo Nix still like clinging to the fumes of this ROI conversation?
No chance anymore.
But he goes down in 4th and 1 and throws a game-tying touchdown, and it's like,
that was an amazing
can we stop?
play.
Do we still have to talk about Bo Nix? I'm still worried about it. Like, he's going to come back and win now. Like, it's not. This conversation is going to go away.
Yeah. Well, he makes some great plays. That deep ball to Mims too was such a dime.
Well, there's the deep ball in OT that he overthrew.
Oh, yeah, he did overthrow one.
And they had the 2 3 and outs in overtime, so I was loving that. Like, good. Okay, let's stop. Finally, the conversation's over. Overthrow Nix is my nickname for him. Pick Nix.
I'm going to hit you up in text messages and call you, what's up, bro, Nix? How's your day going?
Then, we have the missed field, 31-yard field goal. The Bengals still come back and win. Just epic game. The Joe Burrow lore, I might use lore a little bit too much on this podcast, is just through the roof. He is the number 1 most liked quarterback / player in the NFL now. Period.
Marketable.
He is. He's the guy.
The guy.
He's the one that every woman chooses. If you go on the TikTok rankings, we do the rankings of like who's best. Girls just do it as like who's cutest, right? He wins every time, no matter what. He can, and we're talking. Does not matter your race, gender, creed, whatever. Like everyone loves Joe. And this game to me kind of cemented that because if it wasn't already, because one, the gritty. Okay. Yeah. That just adds a little bit of like,
Did you see Hard Knocks?
Well, we talked about it a little bit.
The latest one, though, where he's talking about the gritty on the sideline with Jamar and T. He's like, how'd it look?
No.
It's so funny.
Oh, my God. What am I doing?
Well, it was on New Year's Eve, so it's good, dude. You'll love that exchange.
We have, what was I going to say? Oh, yeah, now he's like an 8-8 team that's most likely not going to make the playoffs, but... He's in the MVP conversation so heavily. The guy is just like, his stock is as high as it can possibly be right now. So
yeah, he's the best quarterback. I mean,
wow,
really, you know, you kind of, it's obviously Allen and Lamar and Mahomes are there, and Jayden's totally emerged. But I feel like what Burrow's done statistically this year and the dimes that he's dropping and the consistent play and the yards and the touchdowns. I think he leads the league in touchdown passes
and yards by a lot. I mean,
he's doing it.
Not really much of a running threat. He does have, I think, 8 picks to Lamar's 4. Lamar only having 4 picks, I think, is what's really keeping him as a potential winner this year.
Good point. So impressive for him to turn that down this year.
We are gonna have a big MVP combo here in a bit. Anything else about the Broncos Bengals game?
Oh, just a terrific game. Really exciting. It's nice to see Cincinnati still alive. What's it, 4 or 5 wins in a row?
Yeah.
It just adds so much excitement to the final week of the year.
We all kind of knew this was going to happen too.
Yeah.
Christmas night. I mean, amazing.
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm sorry. It wasn't Saturday.
Yeah, it's Saturday.
Just a Saturday night game.
It was great. Well, one other thing. Patrick Surtain blanketed Jamar Chase, and I know we'll get into this a little later.
We are going to talk about it.
But T. Higgins went off and had a huge game with 3 touchdowns, and Burrow was kind of like looking to him. So it was cool to see T have a big game.
Thank you so much for bringing that up. Future Commander T. Higgins.
Okay.
The way, I mean, think about the free agent receivers.
Yeah.
Are the Commanders not going to be like their first choice?
True. They want to go play with Jayden.
We have McLaurin and everybody else is just like, thank God they're starting to come along.
Yeah.
Jayden's really pulling like a Brady-esque thing here at the end of the season with these like no-name receivers now that are, I don't even know their names. Zacchaeus, my favorite team, and I don't even know their names. And then that was the real concern when Brown went down, who was our number 2, who was not a number 2 guy. So lack of a good receiving core has always been an issue this year. But it hasn't been the past couple weeks. McLaurin had like 1 catch in the Falcons win and still pulled that out. Ertz has life that I didn't expect him to have.
Yeah, agree.
Okay. Next topic I want to talk about, and these can be brief. We can skim through these. The Herbert Hump. This is big for me.
Okay.
Because he's been considered, statistically, for the past couple years to be an elite guy, but the wins have not followed at all.
Right.
So it's just something not a lot of people are talking about. I think this is huge now that Herbert is finally a playoff guy. I think he's going to be with Harbaugh there kind of every year.
Yeah.
And it's just his career was still kind of uncertain. Like, is he just going to be a good stats guy that never wins?
Yeah.
And now he has this coaching staff and this team, and it's just gigantic for him. I mean, to me, it's kind of a fork in the road for him that went the right way this season.
Dude, you're so right. If this was not a good year for him, it could have been real dangerous.
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
Even like an 8-9 year or 9-8 year.
Yeah,
that didn't make the playoffs.
I mean, dude, 21 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 3,500 plus passing yards. You're talking about a really efficient season from him. And he's got the quarterback whisperer in his ear helping him, Jim Harbaugh, who, has, of course, played quarterback himself and has a long history of, having really good ones on teams that he's coached. And I don't think that's an accident. He knows what he's doing. He knows the position well.
Chargers have been, for me, they've been in playoff conversation from the beginning. And they haven't wavered. No one is talking about them as a chance to advance in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Jim Harbaugh's
He's
the
been
man.
there.
So
the defense is nasty. With Derwin James is incredible. He's just like a missile out there and does a whole bunch of different things. And obviously they have a terrific pass rush with Mack and Bosa. And what shines through during the postseason? Defense. So maybe you could be on
no
something.
one's talking about them.
Well, you were calling them out earlier this year, though. You know what I'm saying? You were. And
Arizona just tied it 5 minutes ago. Is that before the point too? Wow.
Dude, my little brother's at this game.
Let's fucking go.
My bro's at this game.
This is a nice wrinkle to the pot. I like having a game on.
So, you were calling the Chargers, though. You did earlier this year. They didn't win the AFC West, but hey, if they make some noise in the postseason, got to give yourself some kudos because you saw that coming a while ago.
Yeah, I did have them as winning the West, but that didn't happen. We're going to get to some seeding options, too. There are a ton of really important Week 18 games, actually.
I'm so confused. You got to break it down for me. What
I think
happens
I have it.
Okay,
I think I got it.
Good.
The wild card seeding in the AFC is a little confusing to me.
And the Dolphins are alive.
Dolphins alive. I mean, nobody's talking about this. This is absolutely insane.
It's insane.
It's insane. And, like, the Chiefs are still the Chiefs. I guess Carson Wentz going to play the whole game. Have you heard anything about this?
Yeah, that's what I think they're resting.
Okay. Carson Wentz, not a good rep for a backup quarterback in 2024. And not a lot of people like that guy and his abilities. Okay. We dealt with him for a little bit in Washington. It didn't go well. I don't know, but they're still the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Like, they're still a proud elite team. They could beat the Broncos, and then the Dolphins sneak in.
Wouldn't that be something?
They're at the most miserable team in the league this week in New York.
Well, they've had a real favorable schedule down the stretch. I mean, they were able to sit Tua. He was doubtful against the Browns. So they go Browns, and now they
I don't know how they're still there. Huntley has been their guy?
Snoop came through last week. He played solid.
What's my motherfucking name?
Wow. Incredible. Them and the Bengals have,
Mike
got it going down the stretch.
McDaniel might come up later.
Okay.
In the pod. Commander 6 seed. This is gigantic. We win, we get the 6 over the Packers. Not a lot of people were mentioning this as a possibility even a couple weeks ago, right? We were just kind of locked in as the 7 seed.
Yeah.
2 huge wins against Philadelphia and Atlanta. Now put us in this spot. We get to enact revenge on our OG rivals in Dallas. They don't have CD. I think he's out for the year, thank God. Yep. So we can still potentially sit Lattimore with that hamstring injury that just never goes away. He is vital to our playoff success, Lattimore, by the way.
Got to get him right, yeah.
So we win the game, we get the 6 seed. This is so important because the Rams I have as the 18th best team in the NFL.
Okay.
They win, they get the 3 seed. They are, who do they play? We got them on here. Oh, they're hosting the Seahawks. So tough game, even though the Seahawks don't have anything to play for. Going into LA, this Rams team that I do not believe in at all. I mean, even that win against Arizona, like, okay, not very impressed. Just, it couldn't be a bigger difference between going in there or being the 7th seed and going into Philadelphia. So,
yeah. Well, that's interesting. I don't have a ton of faith in the Rams, but they've been there before. They've got a coaching staff that's been there before. They have proven this year that they can win in a variety of ways in a slugfest, knock them down, barn burner type defensive battle with the Niners when the only points scored were field goals. They won 12-6.
Yeah, that wasn't.
And then they went off and beat the Bills 44-42, which is a really, really impressive victory. And that was pretty recent. You have Nakua, you have Kupp. Kyron's, if he's healthy, and if they can protect Stafford, he can slice and dice if he has the time. So they're a little dangerous. I think where they're susceptible is defensively, and I don't think they would have an answer for Jayden and his dynamic dual threat. So, yeah, and obviously Philly and Washington know each other real well. And, I mean, I see where you're coming from. It may be more comforting to play the Rams knowing what you know about the division rival in Philadelphia.
Yeah, so, I mean, the Eagles are now number 3 in the point differential power rankings. So, we just look at how these teams have performed this season, and it's not even close. That said, like we said before, the Rams are wonky because of early season injuries and stuff like that. But,
true.
So do you think do you think it's a little close? Like, if you were a Washington fan, you wouldn't be as terrified to go into Philadelphia versus LA? You don't think there's as big of a disparity there?
No, I see what you mean. I think I would rather play the Rams, but I don't think it's a huge disparity.
Okay.
Like
for me, it's huge.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
I don't know. So the Rams are one of those teams that I feel like could surprise some people in the postseason just because, again, they've won a variety of different ways and they've been there before and they know what it takes. And I think that experience is valuable.
You know who also has been there before, though, is Dan Quinn. So he's bringing that energy to our team, which I'm going to, from the top down, I like it. So maybe that kind of cancels that out a little bit. Interesting. Yeah, I don't know. If we go into LA, I'm expecting to win. If we go into Philadelphia, I'm expecting to lose.
Okay.
Especially, like, everything about it. I mean, they didn't have Hurts last time. They're furious with us.
Yeah.
I mean, they want revenge so bad.
Yeah.
In Philadelphia, I think they would crush us. Honestly,
I don't.
Okay.
I think, dude, it's the Jayden show.
Last highlight that we're going to talk about: Patriots' first pick. This is fascinating.
It is.
What you can go first. You had some opinions on it. I think you texted me some thoughts on.
Well, yeah. I mean, what do you do if you're in New England's position? I don't think you're going to take a quarterback. No. I think you're either going to trade down and get more picks, or you're going to take Travis Hunter, which would be nice on that team. Although, is he a number one pick kind of guy? I don't know. So it's kind of fascinating. I also think that there are a lot of teams that are sitting at 3-13. There are some teams that are sitting at 4-12, and I read somewhere that like some projection has the Patriots 78% getting the first pick, but they're going to go up against Buffalo right this week, and I think the Bills are going to sit a lot of their guys because they're entrenched in the 2 seed. So New England very well could get a victory.
There's no way.
But maybe they won't. I don't know. It's just, for me, it's hard to look at this and go like, oh, the Patriots are going to get the first pick. I think a lot of things can play out this weekend, and one of these teams we don't expect, like the Titans or the Browns, end up getting the number 1 pick.
When you factor that in, almost every Week 18 game has some serious implications.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah.
More so than I even realized, too. Don't let me forget this, or I'll just bring it up now. Bonus incentives. This guy on TikTok listed all of the incentives for these final games, which blew my mind. I've never thought about this. This is so smart. Geno Smith has like a $500,000 incentive to, I think, win or something like the record incentives or stats incentives.
Wow.
So now, I mean, really helpful to understand the incentives here. I don't know.
Yeah.
So like the Seahawks-Rams game, I'm a little scared. I think the Rams might bump down to the 4. Bucks still have a chance to get that 3 seed.
Yeah.
If the Rams lose and they win.
Dude, that's so interesting. So financial implications from a personal standpoint, obviously statistically, things like that matter. I think Zach Ertz qualified for a big bonus by getting his second
3
touchdown.
different ones this week that he can hit.
And the other one, like this brings up the Saquon situation. He's got a chance to go for the NFL single season rushing record, and he's sitting.
Yeah.
So,
and that's just record book. That's not financial.
Right. But maybe a little bit more impact. Yeah, for a guy that's already made a ton of money.
Yeah.
But you're right. You're right.
If I'm Saquon, I'm like, it's good, man. It's the 17th game. Like, I didn't break it in 16.
Yeah.
Like,
it's good. I need to rest up so I can give Washington the business in the first round.
I mean, well, that would mean we literally have, well, unless the Packers lose to the Bears, which they're playing for that 6th seed, so they're playing to not play the Eagles, so they're playing their asses off.
Yeah.
Right? I'm just what I'm saying. Like, of course, we'd rather play the Bucks or the Rams than the Eagles. Any team. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's a big difference. Although the Bucks they're climbing. Bucks are similar to us this year. Regarding the Patriots' first pick,
yeah, what do you got there?
What are the Patriots known for in the draft? Granted, Belichick's not there anymore. They're always trading down.
Yeah.
Always scooping up picks. Down. They struck gold if they get this because they don't need a quarterback.
True.
No way in the world they're drafting Travis Hunter. I think the Buffaloes are a little overrated myself. Hunter might be a good corner. He's not going to play both ways. I think not only are they going to trade it down and get an incredible haul for it, 2 future firsts, another second this year. We've seen this over and over. Just happened with Carolina and Chicago. The Redskins did it for RG3 back in the day. What it means to me is that every team that wants a shot at this has a chance.
Yeah.
It's not just the Raiders and Browns that might trade up a little bit. Like anybody. So, like who's a decent team that's kind of struggling at quarterback?
Oh gosh.
The Steelers? Like Russ isn't going to be around that long. What if the Steelers give up a couple firsts because they have a good nucleus?
Yeah.
Future firsts. They swipe the first round pick. I don't know. I think it's open for anybody.
Justin Fields would be so bummed. Yeah, it probably is.
But you.
Yeah.
You didn't really say what you think is going to happen. What do you think?
I think they'll trade down too. I think if they got the first pick, they'll trade down.
Yeah.
But my thing is like, I feel like one of these teams we don't expect is going to get the first pick is going to end up with the first pick.
Oh,
like
interesting.
The Titans or the Browns or one of these 3-13 teams. Like, I feel like the Patriots are going to. They've got a good chance of winning if the Bills sit everybody.
They all need quarterbacks. Browns, Titans, Giants.
Yeah.
Patriots don't.
Raiders
are huge there. The Jaguars, Cowboys, and Panthers are the interesting teams that do they need a quarterback?
Yeah.
I guess not. Dak and Lawrence are signed for these long deals. Bryce is still kind of like showing some
not yet
life. So I think I don't know. I forget if I mentioned to you on the pod or not, but the Raiders are kind of the prototypical team to just give away everything.
They've done it in the past.
I don't think
you have mentioned that
a very smart ownership group.
Yeah.
So no offense.
Yeah.
To Mark Davis. So I see the Raiders giving up, potentially like 3 future first rounders or something to move up 6, 7 spots.
For Cam or for Shedeur, who would they take?
Cam. I think Shedeur is
overrated.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
And the Dion drama.
Yeah, the Dion.
It's just so like red flaggy to me, dude. If I'm a GM or a coach or an owner, I don't want Dion fucking calling me all the time or saying shit like horrible. Like, you thought Colin Kaepernick was a distraction by silently kneeling? Like, Dion's way worse than me. So
he would, dude. He would definitely want a voice and say and how things are progressing. No doubt.
Then Shedeur, I mean, I get that they turned that program around from nothing, so it's a little unfair to be like, oh, their record against top teams was crap. Like, it was an instant turnaround, so I give them a little grace on that. But like,
yeah,
I don't know what the Shedeur is, like a 3rd rounder.
Yeah, I agree.
4th rounder, like, what are we talking about here? It's just this hype train, or
yeah, well, I mean, he's got a great skill set in that he's another dynamic dual threat guy. So, maybe that potentially that's what GMs are looking at and thinking they can unlock a little bit more.
He's not Jamarcus Russell?
Well, he's definitely skinnier and faster. And probably doesn't have as much of a cannon, though, but maybe.
He just strikes me as a guy that would – it's his mentality. And maybe I'm being so unfair.
Ooh, no.
He strikes me as a guy that would just like walk off. Didn't he walk off the field this year or something?
You're right. He's a bit of a prima donna. That's a good point. Interesting.
I do want to talk a little bit more about NIL and all that stuff now that the Sanders era is over in college. But, I mean, that plays into a lot of guys. Now that these guys are millionaires, or some of them,
yeah,
like that affects your mentality, I think. Like, what do you really – you're already rich?
Yeah. Oh, no, yeah. They've got a problem.
You just need pure pride? Like, okay, like that exists. I get it.
But they're young, too.
Like, they're not even
young.
Playing for a second contract anymore, and like what? I don't know.
Yeah,
What
they
do we got?
need to figure some things out.
Yeah.
Well, we should get into that though later. I'm down.
Sure. Let's breeze through this seeding here.
Yeah, help me out. Help me understand.
Bucks can still get the 3 or 4, or they can be out altogether. So very important game for Bucks Saints. Broncos, I think, are locked in at the 7 seed no matter what. There's a scenario where we have 3 10-7 teams in the AFC wild card. Like, could be the Steelers, Chargers, and Broncos could all be 10-7. I think the Broncos are at 7 no matter what. I think I don't know the 5 and 6 with the Chargers, Steelers in that scenario though.
Okay. Yeah.
So I think they're still playing for it. Like if the Ravens and Steelers lose, Ravens still get the title. Steelers go down to the 6, then Chargers get 5. Yeah. But if the Steelers and Ravens win, I think the Chargers are at the 6.
Okay.
If the Chargers lose, I think they're still at the 6.
Okay. So a muddled AFC wild card situation.
But there's still a chance they can get the 5. So the Chargers are still playing, I believe. Because going into Houston is gigantic. Houston, like the Rams for me, very low. They're a tier 3 team, 17th in point differential. Everybody wants that 5 seed.
Yeah. They haven't been playing that great, and they're banged up.
Bill Simmons brought up a good point where, like, do the Ravens want the 5 seed instead of the 3? Would you rather go into Houston rather than host Pittsburgh or LA?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you would.
So that's weird.
That is weird.
Yes, the Steelers could still be able to get the 3. Falcons, of course, need to win. to get that 4.
And that's okay. So Atlanta, Tampa, they're battling out for the NFC South division title. Yep. Okay.
If Tampa loses, Falcons win. Falcons are in.
Yep.
Having a Falcons. What if we end up with the Falcons, Dolphins, and Texans in the playoffs this year? In such a great year, that would make me furious. If the Falcons get in over the Bucs, the Falcons are the worst potential playoff team. They are 20th in point differential. The Bucs all the way up to 7. They are a tier 1 team above the Chiefs.
Falcons would be interesting because Penix has played and he made some nice plays against Washington.
No, he did a phenomenal job. A game that they definitely could have won.
Yeah. Did
you see all the Falcons fans prematurely celebrating in bars around the country on the field goal?
No, I missed that.
Oh, beautiful. The Commanders have given some great opponent tragedy content this year. But they put a Hall of Fame display on the Hail Mary in Canton.
Oh, dang.
That's amazing. So Jayden's already in the Hall of Fame. It all started with that, seeing all the Bears fans react to that, and seeing the Falcons fans, because that field goal looked like it was good. Did you feel that? A lot of people thought it was good for some reason. Because it was dead on and high.
Got underneath it a little bit too much.
Any other playoff scenarios? Obviously, like we said, Miami needs to win and Denver lose.
Yeah. It's going to be an interesting final week, man. Can't wait till it gets all sorted out. It's a headache.
Let me just take a second to look at this. Yeah, I think we've mentioned them all. Cool. Okay, let's take a quick break. We got 24, minute 13 left. Sun Devils with the ball. We'll be right back. Chico State's like the Arizona State of small West Coast towns.
Yeah, it is. I almost went to Arizona State.
I hear it's just absolute debauchery.
Tempe, baby. AZ's the place to be. It would have been a lot of fun. Big time Pac-12 sporting events at that time, too.
Yeah. I hear it's absolutely insane there. Okay. MVP. Allen's the favorite still.
You think so?
In Vegas. No, just betting.
Vegas. Okay.
I looked at some Vegas stuff today.
Okay. Got it.
Lamar next. I think Burrow's third.
Yeah. Makes sense.
And then Mahomes or Saquon 4, Mahomes 5. So I made some we're going to do a couple things with this.
Okay.
I made a few different groups of quarterbacks, right? We got 12 guys here. With the exception of Burrow, these are all playoff guys. First group, Herbert, Hurts, and Love. These are super athletic, really good. Teams are really good, but they're not in the MVP combo for whatever reason.
Yeah. Makes sense to me.
Why aren't they even being mentioned? There's just too many good players ahead of them.
I think so. Yeah, exactly. I think, when you look at the crop above them, those guys have just played better.
Yeah. And then I guess, they have good running backs too. I don't know. Okay. Just want to mention those guys. The other group are badass white boys. Okay. Jared Goff, Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield, and Matt Stafford. Great group of guys right there.
Stafford sneaks in there? Interesting.
I mean, they're a 10-win team.
Okay.
I mean, he's a Super Bowl champ.
Yeah, he is.
I put him in there last minute.
Okay.
Incredible seasons by Goff, Darnold, and Baker. I mean, particularly after last week.
Baker's
patted his
such
stats.
a fighter.
Why? I mean, we're getting a little bit of Darnold fumes in the MVP conversation. We should get more.
He's been unbelievable.
Why not Goff? Goff is a beast, dude. Yeah. Just it's really over the last 6-7 games in particular, the way he's even turned it up even more.
Yeah.
He's 4 or 5 touchdown games, just can't miss.
Yeah.
Doing fake trips against the Bears. I mean, he does doing whatever he wants out there.
Yeah. Well, he had a 5 interception game. And I think, you just mentioned Herbert, Hurts, and Love. They all have great running backs. The Lions are a very balanced team, and obviously they will pound you with the run game. And so maybe it has a little bit to do with that element as well.
Great group of guys. I think
Darnold, though, dude. Darnold should absolutely be, in the top 3 conversation.
His running back is Aaron Jones.
Yeah, and he is just, dude, he's playing on another planet.
Then we have, if you don't mind, Ross, get the center up the mic. It's There we go. Yeah. Little front and center. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
These mics are weirdly like you go an inch to the right or left and like doesn't capture it as well.
Okay.
Okay. The final group.
The group
here. We have Allen and Lamar, like we said, Burrow, Mahomes, and I'm putting Jayden in there. Not necessarily as if he's not your top 5 for just pure best quarterbacks in the NFL. I'm fine with that.
Okay.
But I think he is top 5 for most valuable players in the NFL.
Yeah.
So I need to make my Jayden case for MVP because he's like 50,000 to 1, like or plus 50,000. Like he's not even in the conversation.
Right.
And the way to do this is with the Kirk Cousins test.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
What would this team look like if Kirk Cousins was their quarterback? Right.
Not as good.
But I want to apply this to all the teams.
Okay.
So let's start with the Chiefs.
Okay. The Kirk
Andy
Cousins
Reid,
test.
Chiefs, Kirk Cousins. They're a 15-win team right now. How many wins are you giving the Chiefs with Kirk Cousins this year?
11-6.
Okay. Still a team that probably will win the West. Good team.
Yeah. Good team.
The Bills with Kirk Cousins this year. This may be the toughest one.
10-7.
You still think they're a 10-win team?
I do.
Interesting. Okay.
But you're right. I mean, what Allen can do.
You're not wrong.
I mean, his oh gosh, he's so big. 6'5", just hard to bring down. The threat of running the ball, literally quarterback draws up the middle. You can't do that with Cousins.
Yeah.
So it would change their offense significantly. But I love the coach. I love the defense. I love the run game. I still think they would be competitive. But maybe, the more I think about it and talking it out here, 10 wins might be a little too much.
Maybe 9 wins. They're a 13-win team right now.
Yeah. I don't 9 wins seems, I think 9, you're right.
We're on a full 17 week though. I mean 10 and 7 is totally
doable,
reasonable.
But 9 and 8 though, I would say.
The Baltimore Ravens this year with Kirk Cousins and Derrick Henry.
Yeah. 11?
They're
10?
still kind of a 10-win team, right?
Yeah. 10.
That might be maybe the best team with Kirk Cousins that we've mentioned. Oh, I guess the Chiefs maybe.
Yeah.
Or the team that kind of takes the smallest hit. The Ravens, how many wins do they have right now?
Yeah.
11.
Yeah. Oh, gosh.
We're talking valuable.
Yeah, right.
Changes the team.
Yeah. Well, and it's the skill set that's getting me here with the Cousins test because a lot of these guys have that second threat to run the ball and adds that dynamic situation to the offense.
Well, I mean, your offensive scheme changes entirely, right?
Exactly.
But you factor that in, so
yeah,
that's all part of it, right? Interesting.
I think we're giving these teams too many wins. Now that I think about it.
Do you? Okay.
Yeah. I don't know.
Are the Chiefs more like a 10-win team?
I mean, and what Cousins are you getting? Are you getting the Cousins from this year? Or are you getting the Cousins
at
from
the
a couple
beginning of the
years
year?
ago?
Remember when he had that insane game against the Bucks in Atlanta? Threw like that overtime game, threw like 500 yards or something like that. Yeah. Let's go early season Cousins is what you're getting.
Yeah.
Because last month wasn't so great.
It's tough.
Okay. Do we want to reevaluate any of the teams so far? Chiefs, you still have 11?
No.
Okay.
It's just a very interesting. The Cousins test is very interesting.
Thank you.
Yes.
The Bengals.
Yeah.
8-win team right now.
7-6.
Oh, really? You're still up there.
You think they'd be worse?
They could be a 4-win team.
Yeah, they could be. I don't think I say 7-6 thinking they would stink, but
Okay. And now to prove my point.
Okay.
I don't want to sway your opinion on this though. The Washington Commanders this year with Kirk Cousins. They were 4-13 last year.
6 wins? 5 wins?
So
7 wins?
Big team with the largest disparity
is
the Commanders.
Well, certainly. I think Jayden is definitely super valuable.
Rest my case, Your Honor. That's my thing. I mean, it's all about and we talk about in baseball, wins above replacement, which is still I have no idea.
WAR, yeah,
how that stat's compiled. Do we not have that in football? And if so, why not?
Yeah, gosh.
So that's my case for Jayden. I think no one has changed a team like he has, or does change a team given a kind of low tier starter replacement.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he's proven to be a totally franchise-changing type player for them, and look out in the next coming years.
Looks like Texas missed a field goal. We're going to OT.
Missed it?
We're going to OT.
Wow, that was a gimme.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Good test. Kirk Cousins Test. Love that.
Thank you. The position player Mount Rushmore. Pretty clear. I don't know if there's much debate here amongst anybody. We have Derrick Henry, Saquon Barkley, Jamar Chase, and Justin Jefferson.
Yeah.
Any changes here for you?
No.
Okay.
I think those clearly are the 4 best non-quarterback offensive weapons this
Quite
season.
the Mount Rushmore. Those are some studs.
Yeah.
Do you ever watch Drink Champs?
No.
Noriega, you know the rapper Noriega from
Yeah.
back in the day, Nori? So they do this hip hop, comparison, like Biggie or Tupac, whatever, right?
Okay.
I'm laying it on you right now.
Okay.
Talent wise.
Okay.
Talent. Derrick Henry or Saquon Barkley?
Like God-given talent?
Just right now, who is the better running back?
Saquon.
Really?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I still think I want Henry in the open field over Saquon.
Saquon can run him faster.
Henry's always been like, he looks like he's slow, but he's lightning.
He's big and strong.
Fast.
Yeah.
Okay, Saquon. Jamar Chase or Justin Jefferson?
Oh God, that's so hard. Oh man. I think I want Jefferson.
Ooh, why?
Longer.
Mm-hmm.
And just slightly better with the gritty. Yeah, I just think he's just more elastic, more elusive, just a little bit longer, still a super great route runner. You can throw it up to him in the corner. He's probably got a better chance of bringing it down. I think lengthwise, but I love Jamar.
It's hard not to always think of that catch in Buffalo from Kirk Cousins. A couple years ago, it was like a 4th and 17.
Oh, yeah.
That insane one-handed in traffic. Jamar does seem to be more consistent, a little bit more consistent.
Yeah. JJ
will have, some 70-yard games with no touchdowns sometimes. Jamar's like he's a little thicker, a little more solid.
Yeah.
I like the way he runs in the open field.
Yeah.
A little bit better.
Yeah, he's fast.
His cuts are great. I love JJ so much.
But you're giving it to Jamar.
I think I'm good.
Yeah. That's a really tough one.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
I mean, I do think Jamar probably is less double teamed just because of the other weapons around him. I mean,
Fair.
Addison's emerged a little bit this year, and actually a lot. He's been great, but I think it's maybe these games that you're referring to where Jefferson doesn't go off is because he's getting double and triple teamed.
He does play in a dome too. I don't know if that really matters, but
yeah.
Cool. Okay, I love it.
I like Saquon over. I shouldn't go back. Sorry to revert back, but Saquon's younger.
Okay. Yeah, when we're not talking about like building into the future, just like literally right now, who's better? I just want to mention the defensive player of the year favorites in Vegas. TJ Watt leads the pack right now.
Boo.
You mentioned Patrick Surtain, the best cornerback in the league right now.
Dude, he shut down Jamar.
He's some real Darrelle Revis
energy.
energy.
Taking away half the field.
And then you look at Nick Benito, the Broncos linebacker, and that combo, the second and third best defensive players in the league.
Dude, Nick Benito's made some really, really cool, fun plays.
Yeah.
When he picked off that wide receiver pass back to the quarterback a couple weeks ago and took it to the house, and he came out of nowhere and just snatched that ball, it was like, wow.
The other guy's Will Anderson Jr., the D end for the Texans.
Yeah.
And Xavier McKinney,
got
safety
a lot of picks. Yeah.
for the Packers.
Yeah.
This shows that I need to pay a lot more attention to defense because I did not know what team Will Anderson and Xavier McKinney were on. Quite the little. I mean, I like how you can group these guys together. Like we got Surtain McKinney in the secondary.
Yeah.
We got Will Anderson, Watt on the line.
Yeah.
Benito backer. I'll pay more attention to you guys next year.
Depoy's been around a long time, and if my memory serves me correctly, there's only been 13 defensive backs to win the award. Like usually it's a D end or a linebacker.
That's why we love you on the pod, because you know stuff like that.
I was doing a little research on that because I feel like Surtain should win the award this year, and it had me thinking like, how many corners have ever won Defensive Player of the Year? So I went looking into it. And TJ Watt, has. I booed, earlier, but the guy deserves a ton of credit. He's an absolute monster on the defensive line. He's won a few, right?
Has he already won some?
I think he has.
Okay.
I think he's the reigning defensive player of the year. So you have that MVP discussion where it's like, well, you should give it to Josh Allen because Lamar's already won a couple.
Right.
If you're looking at the defensive player of the year selection, maybe go elsewhere than Watt.
And he's obviously MAGA, so let's get that.
And he's been banged up the last couple weeks, and he hasn't played as good because he's hurt. So that's another thing to factor in.
Let's give it to Surtain because the Broncos shouldn't really. I mean, they also have been. They've been in the wild card race all season as well.
Right.
Ever since that kind of convincing win over the Bucs in Tampa, they had like a 26-7 win early on that was kind of surprising.
Mm-hmm.
That's when you saw how great that defense was. Like the Chiefs-ish, like their defense has been the star for them this season.
You're right.
And so I think it makes all the sense in the world to give it to Surtain. Next up, okay, this is when the pod's going to start to get good. What's your schedule today? You working?
Oh, I'm here, baby.
Okay.
Let's do it.
Media darling this week for me. He's not an active player, but he is active in my mind, that's for sure. Antonio Brown's Cracker of the Year Awards. Antonio gets the Media Darling
he does.
award for the week. Okay. So there are some legitimately interesting things to talk about here.
Okay.
The whole thing with Antonio is CTE. Like everyone on the internet's like, he has CTE, he has CTE, he has CTE.
He embraces it.
One, I should probably do a little more research. I don't know that there's any official medical announcement that was made on that. Any information that's been released that we know. And I guess this is a case for like, I guess any long-time NFL player. Like we don't really know what the details are regarding his CTE, for instance. Does he have it? Are there varying degrees of it? Like it's a murky thing. I'd like to kind of be a little more specific. I just hate when people pile on and say like something when they don't know that it's true necessarily. I'm in the camp that he doesn't have any like brain damage at all, that he's always had this kind of personality. Always.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's just like, I also think the guy's actually genuinely hilarious.
Yeah.
Like not in an ironic way. Like his Twitter, his awards thing, like this is genuine comedy. Like Shane Gillis, he gave the Cracker of the Year, funniest cracker to Shane Gillis. And like just perfect comedy bait for Gillis, the whole thing. Like he's soaking it in. He's saying it's like the greatest honor he's ever received. Obviously it's comedy, but like
Same with McAfee, said the same thing.
But like comedy is not easy. Like there's an intelligence here.
Yes.
With AB.
Yes.
I don't think he has any brain damage whatsoever. Okay. I think he's fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
And I mean, even the way was it CTESPN or something?
CTESPN.
It's so funny. Does this make you think of anything? This CT conversation, this murkiness around it.
Yeah, it makes me think that he's misunderstood and he's smart and intelligent enough to have fun with it. I think what he's doing is definitely calculated. And I think he's absolutely kind of on another level, just like playing around. But there have been some scenarios and situations with police and other kind of scary things that have happened in the past that I think have led people to feel like there's something potentially wrong mentally or something that he may need a little bit of help with. Like, what was he like? Wasn't he in like some kind of standoff or something like recently, like 4 or 5 years ago? There was a big incident at his home, and it was just kind of scary. And, you know, he ran off the field in the middle of a game and kind of like waved to the crowd. He's done some like obscure things, but I don't necessarily think those things may like, you know, qualify for, you know, hey, this guy's got, you know, big time mental health issues or problems that we need to pay attention to. But, you know, yeah, it's a tough one. And I do think it's funny and engaging, and he's taking advantage of the social media world. And, you know, he was a hell of a player, you know, and a great talent. And I miss watching him play because he was like Jamar Chase before Jamar Chase was, and maybe even a little bit better. And yeah, so, you know, good for him to have a little fun.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think that young, successful black men have run-ins with the police all the time. We saw it with Tyreek this year.
True.
Like, that doesn't really, I mean, that happens for nefarious reasons. For also, I mean, we all know about that stuff.
Yeah, and who knows the full details of it as well.
I'm not saying
I should clarify. You're right.
But I guess that's just where my kind of mind went with like any kind of police run-ins.
Fair. It's a fair point.
And then,
but what I was just trying to do by bringing that up was like provide a lens into why people have this perspective of him. Is I think it was those kind of, there were a few incidents that I led people to think like, oh, he has some issues. And maybe that thought process was unwarranted because we don't really know the full details about what happened.
And that's it's just, you know, internet groupthink. It's such a meta problem in the world in general. So like any instance of it, whether, even if it's something kind of more inconsequential like this, it just kind of triggers me. Him running off the field, to me, was one of the most empowering. It's one of my favorite moments of the last like 5 years of sports. Like, Bruce Arians is an asshole. Like, I am so happy he did that. I love player empowerment. Because like, the players are the bread and butter. They are everything. And so when you're not treated, I mean, I get that like there's selflessness, there's buying into the team, of course, 100%. But also, like, respect the players for the value that they are. They are 100% of the value. Owners do jack shit. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Like, they own the team. They reap the rewards. So, anyways, I'm always big on any talent that sticks their middle finger up to the boss. I'm all here for it.
As a 49er fan, and what recently happened with Devondre Campbell, I can't.
I think,
situational.
Pretty different situations, I think.
Okay.
But fair.
Both ran off on their team.
I think I'm definitely kind of, it's out of the mold in my opinion on that. But
yeah. No, I see where you're coming from. To circle back here, like, media darling, incredible. Antonio Brown's Cracker of the Year awards, freaking hilarious. He missed one, that was like the podcast of the year. Is obviously AC Sports. I mean, I love watching this guy play. I know you loved watching this guy play. I think you tagged Antonio Brown in an Instagram post recently, and he went and liked it. He did. Holler at your boys in Chico. We're just two dudes talking sports who appreciate you, and we're from the same hometown as Aaron Rodgers. Antonio Brown, get down, hook us up with the Cracker of the Year podcast award out here. Any thoughts?
2025, you mean, not this year. We're talking next year.
Okay. Yeah, just a little bit of a recruitment throw out there.
Look, we have 4 YouTube episodes. Let's give it another year. I like the early campaigning, though. I'm fine with that.
Okay. Thank you. I should have asked for permission. This is the producer. This guy, he loves you.
Congrats on episode 5 today. We're killing it. Any media darling? You don't have to.
Oh, I'm right there with you, man. Okay. A, B.
So funny. Look.
He is so funny. Some of his tweets on X are ridiculous.
It's the best. Okay. This week's Derek Carr, put some respect on my name. We were saying his name. My bad. Got to be gender neutral here. Put some respect on my name award.
Oh, gosh.
Do you want me to go first so you can think about it?
Yes. I had one. You go first.
My Homer emotional pick was Marcus Mariota.
Oh, yeah.
This guy, it makes me emotional for some reason. You know, we talked about Jayden being tired. There's this kind of
that
semi-viral moment where he goes, like, he talks to him. There's also the moment where Mariota and Derrick Henry see each other after the game midfield this year with the Commanders-Ravens game.
Okay.
And, like, Henry was so happy to see Marcus, and I just had this, like, he has this energy about him, like, just what an awesome guy. He always has been.
He really has.
He came in and stepped in, granted against the Panthers, and won a 40-7 game
Played
this year.
Great.
There's talk about, like, definitely re-sign that guy, like, pay him $7 million as a back, whatever. Like, pay him what you got to pay him for the energy. And, you know, Tennessee fans looking at that Henry-Mariota exchange just, like, gutted. Like, why don't we still have both these guys?
Yeah.
That gets into, like, don't give up on quarterbacks too soon conversation, too.
It does.
He's kind of my honorable mention. I think my real put some respect on his name award this week goes to Mike McDaniel from the Miami Dolphins. Is it McDaniel?
Yeah.
There's so many Mike Micks. Okay. The fact that, I mean, we have to respect this guy for what he's been able to do to get this team in a position to be in the playoffs in Week 18. This team that we forgot about with this horrible Tua situation, no-name backups. I mean, let's go. He's awesome. We talked about him on pod for some reason.
Yeah.
Did he already get this award?
Yeah.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
Shit. You gave it to him?
Yeah.
Oh, God damn it. Then I'm sick with
because he beat Kyle Shanahan, and he's got some ties to. He was McDaniel. One of his first coaching jobs was College of the Redwoods, which is crazy. And you know, community college ball out here on the West Coast. Maybe they played Butte that year. That would have been a trip.
Oh yeah. Okay, I'm sticking with Mariota then.
Yeah.
Forget that.
Okay.
I'm so impressed with what he's done.
Yeah, I like McDaniel a lot. That's cool, dude. We can give it to him back to back. I like your style. I did think of one. Trey McBride. Okay. Arizona Cardinals tight end.
Oh yeah.
This guy had a monster season. And maybe this is more like put some respect on the Cardinals for doing whatever they could to get him a touchdown. He had an amazing year, tons of receptions, tons of yards, but had not scored a touchdown going into last week's game against the Rams. And whenever they got close to the goal line, they were deliberately calling plays for guys or for him to get him in the end zone. And the reason I bring him up is circles back to kind of what we were talking about earlier in the episode. Is like, you know, you guys that qualify for, you know, some incentives with the passing yards they get or the touchdowns they get, and just maybe players wanting their teammates to reach these certain levels of statistics so they get the financial benefits. This situation, obviously McBride isn't going to hit a threshold with only one receiving touchdown, but it's cool to see teammates wanting the best for each other in those moments, as well as coaching staff. And you could see he was like super stoked to score a touchdown. What was really funny later in the game, though, is they had a chance to go up with another touchdown, and Kyler was facing pressure and had to get rid of it quick, and McBride was breaking out of his cut, and he took the pass right off the dome.
Oh, yeah, and then the pick.
It was like, oh, no, poor guy. But he deserves a lot of respect. The Cardinals deserve a lot of respect. That was cool what they did for him.
We're going to talk about that pick in a second. What's the Cardinals head coach first year?
Jonathan Gannon, I think his name is.
I think honestly he's done a good job.
Yeah, agree.
The Cardinals are actually the best team in the NFC West for point differential, or they're tied with the Seahawks exactly. So you know they're a 9-loss team, might be a 10-loss team, a little better than what their record says this year. So I kind of like that team. I think they got a real shot to win the West next year. Okay, new category, Ross.
Okay. Break it down for me.
Dude, I got so deep into Joe Mazulla this week. I love this guy. I knew that he was always kind of a little extremely savage, but I forgot there's so much content on this guy out there with post-game press conferences and stuff. One of the things he said was something about rule changes, and he said that he wished basketball was more like cricket, and he gave an example. But a brilliant quote. So this is the Joe Mazulla make basketball more like cricket moment of the week, where a rule came up that we have that we want to talk about that we might not like. Oh, Texas ties.
Oh my gosh, on fourth and 13.
You just brought it up coincidentally. Brilliant. The guy's such a pro. He segues without knowing what the next topic's going to be.
Stop.
We have the catch rule where the ball still touches the ground. You said that you've thought about this. You've talked about this before with someone or something. You thought about this before. You mentioned when I brought it up to you. Is that not right? Okay.
Maybe.
You said something like it's something you. Anyways, you can still get a catch if the ball touches the ground as long as you have complete control of it, as long as it doesn't move at all, or whatever.
Right. It's a rule that's evolved. Like a couple years ago, you really had to have that thing secured. If it touched the ground at all, incomplete. But they've since walked that back a little bit, and there are a lot of catches now that are happening where it seems like the ball makes significant impact with the ground, but as long as it's corralled by the hands, they're giving it to the receiver.
I don't like it.
Or the running back. Yeah.
No. It's too... Well, how do you feel about it?
I like it.
You do? Okay.
Yeah. But there are a couple plays. I thought the Zach Ertz touchdown to win that game was a little interesting because one of the views straight head on, it almost looked like he sort of like pinned the ball on the ground and then kind of scooped it up and in. And I thought it was strange that replay wasn't showing that angle of the pass, but the more I watched it, the more I'm like, oh no, he secured that, like a little later on in highlights. So yeah, it's a little interesting. That obviously won the game for Washington, but I think there are a plethora of plays like that throughout the league every week now, and it is kind of a fascinating discussion.
I don't get it. I mean, everything moves if you break it down small enough. Like, if we're going micrometers, it moved 4 micrometers. I don't know. It's just like it shouldn't be able to touch the ground at all. I'm sorry. I just it makes it so much more simple.
Yeah.
Because then it's a real judgment
That's
call
how
now.
It was.
On on like, did it move? Did it not? Did it help him catch the ball? Like, it's a very subjective opinion that was just like, we don't want to bring unnecessary subjectivity into, did I put the wrong emphasis on the syllable right there? Into this. Like, I don't like it. Ball touches the ground. It's not a catch. And,
Okay.
I got that.
I like that. Can we make basketball more like basketball? I'm so sick of the running, gunning, and all these chucking threes and like no organized play calling and no like sets.
That's a little hyperbolic.
I mean, yeah, but come on, you just had me thinking about that. Like basketball is struggling in ratings. There's not as much interest in the game anymore. Yeah. Why is that happening? Well, it's probably because it's not like it was 10 years ago when it was more artistic and more poetic and there was more backdoor screens to set people up for high-flying alley-oops. Now it's just a bunch of pick and roll and guys chucking threes, and it's not very exciting anymore.
Well, you're stepping on a pod from 5 weeks from now, okay? This is such a good year to start this podcast. It's been one of my favorite NFL seasons. Obviously, the Jayden is a huge part of that.
Yeah.
But even outside of that, like, it's just a great year to. I think these playoffs are shaping up to be one of the least certain playoffs that we've been exposed to in a long time.
Yeah.
At least for me, I'm not crowning the Chiefs. And then this basketball season, I love the state that it's in terms of podcasting. There's so much to talk about.
It really is.
And like just the improvements and all that stuff. So. Can't wait to get into that after the Super Bowl.
Okay.
Elisha Manning. First of all, did you know that is his given name?
No way.
I swear to God, I just saw this today.
Yeah, you are clowning me, bro.
I'm not kidding. You can look it up after this.
Me.
I don't know how it's pronounced. I don't know if they were expecting a girl.
Elijah?
Oh, maybe it is Elijah.
Okay.
And that's how they spelled it. I just saw the spelling. I didn't hear it read.
Because it looks like Alicia.
There's a no, I saw a TikTok
it's
a couple hours
Elijah.
Before that had NFL players' real names, like DK Metcalf's real first name, all that stuff, and it's Elisha, and they gave his middle name too. So, anyways, he's on. There's 5 first ballot Hall of Famers. What say you, Eli Manning, first ballot Hall of Famer?
Yes.
Okay.
Super Bowls.
Okay. beating the Patriots and Tom Brady are a huge part of that.
Epic. Yeah. Yeah, I think he is. And I was thinking about that era of quarterbacks the other day. And for me, I don't know for you, but I had a hard time thinking of like a bunch of other good quarterbacks outside of Tom Brady and Peyton Manning from that era. I couldn't even think of 5. I was like,
Drew Brees?
Okay, love it. That was one that came to mind.
You should not have forgot Drew Brees.
No, right. He won Super Bowls. He was one that came to mind. Eli was another that came to mind. And then it really started to get like...
Rodgers is part of that era.
Okay, we could give Rodgers that.
Definitely is. Phil Rivers.
Phil Rivers could be considered a good one. I was like...
Donovan McNabb.
Like McNabb. And then I thought like... I was even going like Mark Brunell, and then I was like, I was trying to run through like all the teams, and it's hard to name. I mean, would you consider Brett Favre that era? If you consider Rodgers that era, I mean, like early Tom Brady, yeah.
Tony Romo,
yeah.
Oh, Kurt Warner,
good one. Kurt Warner, okay.
Roethlisberger. We never talk about Roethlisberger. Yeah. He's like an all-timer.
Hey, I'll give you credit. You're doing way better than I did. I had trouble, man. I was like, dude.
Roethlisberger is, I think, for personal reasons, has really kind of been erased from the conversation when he shouldn't be. But what were you going to say?
Yeah, no, I was just going to say Eli for sure. First ballot Hall of Famer. I would put him in there.
Yeah, beating Tom Brady twice is brilliant. We don't need to spend a ton of time on this if you don't want to.
Okay.
I mentioned earlier it's the end of the Deion Sanders era in college. I don't think he's going to coach Colorado next year, obviously.
Interesting.
Maybe that's an unpopular opinion. I think obviously he's moving on. He kind of represents the birth of the NIL. Oh, it looks like Texas just won. Sorry, Arizona. It's a tough one.
Dang.
They had that. That's rough. So yeah, the Sanders boys and Deion himself are kind of the face of the NIL being ushered into our lives. So that's pretty big.
And Deion's got some thoughts about it too.
Yeah. Michael Vick and Deshaun Jackson come to mind as two. That's his real legacy to me, is like, and look, this does get tied back to like, there are racist kind of institutions in this country, and I think they carry over into sports big time. And I do think we evolve constantly. Our generation has been a big part of honestly, all doing our part to make sure these things evolve, whether it's in our opinions or actions or whatever. It still was like a guy like Deshaun, a guy like Vic, he can't be a head coach. So thank God this is changing. I think it's a huge part, and I don't even know how to put my finger on it, as a white man or not. Like, I have a friend who I coach with, black man, who is been so excited by Deion's presence, because I think he felt that, like, somebody genuinely like me, not just a black man, but a black man like me. And it's kind of like, obviously I'll be careful with what, opinion I'm going to give on this. But I love it, man. I love it. And I don't have a lot of details here. I would like to have other people on to talk about this big time. But just Coach Mike Vick, Coach Deshaun Jackson. Yeah. Pretty awesome. And I think that's a direct result of what Deion did.
Yeah. It feels like those doors opened up for those opportunities for them because of Deion's impact from a head coaching standpoint in the NC2A. And, black head coaches in the NFL, there aren't as many.
There should Rooney be more. Rule, where you're forced to interview a black man.
Be more.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I don't think there's a single black owner of an NFL franchise. So
Tomlin's just he's been kind of carrying this torch on his own for a long time, it feels like. But I would like to talk about this more. This maybe can be an off-season conversation with some guests, some black men and or women who have some wisdom to part on this. It reminds me of like Allen Iverson a little bit, and like how Iverson made this change in the league. He became such this important figure for black men and women. And I don't know how to define it exactly, what the differences are, but I think it's awesome.
Yeah, me too. Agree.
Okay.
Teddy Bridgewater's coming right afterwards too, because
to coach?
Yeah, because he led his team to a state football championship, and then when the season was over, signed on with the Lions and is now like a backup quarterback, which is fascinating.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Bridgewater will get an opportunity.
Interesting.
And I wonder. I think Deshaun was a high school football coach too. I don't think this is a job that they're getting without any experience. Also,
I think Vic is without any experience.
Okay, Vic might be one. Yeah, Vic, good point. Vic might be one, but I think Deshaun's been coaching a little bit. I might be wrong. Don't quote me on that.
Oh, but that's part of what goes into this, because Deion didn't have any. Oh, well, he first coached at the
Jackson State.
Yeah. But he had never had any experience before then.
But still. And that's kind of similar to these situations with Vic and Deshaun, where like they're walking into situations that Sanders had with lesser known colleges. Vic was up for the job with Sacramento State, which would have been amazing right down the road. But
a lot of would have brought some shine up here to NorCal. Okay, we'll see how much energy we have left here.
Okay, I'm ready.
The Pop Tart Bowl.
Dude, amazing. Ambiance. Incredible.
So what I want to talk about is the branding element.
Okay.
The meta commentary, if you will. Branding in bowl games, always been a thing. In America, corporate branding is a huge part of our pop culture lives. We just kind of accept it. Some people are very critical of it. Some people hate and loathe it. You know, I grew up in a family where we muted commercials. Like, we are anti kind of corporate influence in any type of way.
Yeah.
The Pop Tart Bowl, they've decided just to go so far with corporate branding that I'm almost okay with. Like, look, man, let's just not half-ass it. Let's just not be the Pop Tart Bowl or the Cheez-Its Bowl. Like, let's go in like fever dream. Artistic Salvador Dali skits where they're like cooking a live Pop-Tart and then the players are eating it as it comes out. Did the Pop-Tart Bowl make you feel any kind of way from the Pop-Tart perspective, from the corporate perspective?
Well, I guess it makes me feel like this. Some of these college football bowl games, you know, are up against it in terms of not being part of the big ones, like the Rose Bowl. Mm-hmm. And so you've got to do things to draw attention to yourselves. And the Duke's Mayo Bowl is another one that comes to mind when we think about the Pop-Tart Bowl. Because what was it, like the head coach is going to get drowned in mayonnaise?
That happened this year?
No, that's January 3rd. And it's happened in years past. So a lot of these bowl games have taken this route that you're referring to now, and I think it's to just drum up awareness, try to create something interesting that fans may get behind and want to watch in order to help boost the ratings of a bowl game that may not get as much of attention as some of the big ones.
What about just on the corporate conversation, are you against corporate logos on like NBA jerseys?
No.
You're not? Okay.
No.
Okay.
I used to be, but now I get it. I mean, it's a financial thing that has a lot of implication.
Right.
It's been done overseas. It's been done with soccer, I believe. So I don't really have much of a problem with it. But
you're not. You don't seem to be really on the cynical side of kind of corporate involvement.
Yeah. I mean, I could see the other side and the point of view, like leave it out, but it doesn't really bother me too much.
Okay. Just want to talk about the Pop-Tart Bowl.
I do think it was funny though that all the players were eating the Pop-Tart and the giant Pop-Tart, and it didn't look very appetizing.
Well, and I saw that. I mean, there's like some tweets, or not tweets, that I'm not on that platform anymore. Some blue skies about children asking their parents if the Pop-Tart was just murdered. Because he was like shaking his arms going in the toaster. It was an insane display.
It was.
I am all for on bringing in, if you're going to go, if you're going to do it, just go all out and do something crazy. Okay. You see this next topic here?
I have no idea what this is.
So Aaron Rodgers announced that he has a girlfriend. Okay. Brittani Kline.
Does she do ayahuasca?
I don't know. I don't know. I think she's just like a model in New York.
Good for him.
This is why I want to bring this up.
Okay.
He gets a lot of hate out there. So I want to uplift our guy Aaron. I want to talk about some fun, positive stuff. First of all, I hope she's a good girlfriend and is by his side right now, giving him the good vibes that I think he really needs right now. Okay, tough time, just from the public, a lot of heat. 2, here's my question for Aaron. I might have a question for Aaron every week. I don't care if it's baseball season.
New segment. Question for Aaron.
My question for Aaron, and I'm serious about this. Aaron, where did dating New York models rank in your decision to come to New York? I'm not joking. Because for me, I'm the quarterback. I'm already famous. But now I'm the quarterback in New York. There's some privileges here. There's some social privileges.
Absolutely.
I guess like, I think that these decisions play into something to what players. I don't know. Would you hate it? Would this decision cross your mind if you're an NFL quarterback, single?
Yes.
Yeah, it would.
Absolutely.
I would be very excited by this prospect. Like, oh shit, I'm in New York now. There are so many beautiful women here that are going to be into me.
Do you think he extra feels like that after playing in Green Bay for so long?
That's a great point, dude. 0 people to date in Green Bay.
Yeah.
So I'm all for it.
Should have gone to Miami, bro.
Well, yeah. I genuinely want to know if that crossed your mind, Aaron, when you were making the decision to come to New York. I'm pretty sure it did. I want to know where it ranks. Like 5th most important reason?
That's a great question. I bet it's right there. I definitely think he pondered it. Absolutely. And I think the New York kind of lifestyle situation just factored into his decision to go to the Jets in general.
That can also go. I mean, he's kind of hated in the town at the moment. So,
yeah.
Then again, I don't know. There's gonna be hecklers out at the New York bars. Is he even going to bars in New York? I wonder, or just going to Manhattan, kind of hitting the scene. I wonder.
Yeah. Well, this conversation's extra fascinating because of what he portrays in Enigma about like not really wanting all that off the field attention, but like you said, he loves the attention.
Yeah, dude, I would, dude, and maybe I wouldn't be. Who knows, being in that position? But I would love going out in Manhattan if I was the quarterback and if I was already famous and I was single. That'd be so fun.
Yeah, unless you're Daniel Jones.
Even then, dude, you're getting good attention with some drinks and some ladies. Like, okay. Good luck, Aaron and Brittany. Okay, we've got a good long pod in. Are you down for a little basketball sprinkle here?
Sure, love it.
Mike Brown was fired.
Crazy.
I am a Kings fan. I have been since it's the one team that I adopted when I moved to NorCal as a little kid. I'm not a Wizards fan. They were the Bullets back then.
Calbert Cheney.
So I've loved this team for a long time. Obviously, not a lot of playoff success or appearances over the past 20, 25 years, a couple here and there. In hindsight, that Warriors playoff we had a couple years ago, we were so close to beating you guys.
Yeah. But got your revenge last year.
Yeah, well,
in a playing game.
Same.
Little bit.
That was Mike Brown's first year with the team. Things looked incredible. Things looked like we were on the way up, and now he's gone. A lot of mid-season fires this year. We've talked about this, NFL, whatever. I'm really, really against the mid-season fire unless it's like absolute dire circumstances. What are your thoughts? A lot to think about around the Mike Brown firing.
Well, I think all you need to know about the Mike Brown firing is how many other coaches stepped up and said like kind of ludicrous and had Mike's back. Steve Kerr, Mike Malone.
Well, Mike Malone went through it already.
Yeah, he went through it already. I think it's a reflection of maybe Monty McNair not really knowing what's going on. I also think Vivek needs to be a little bit kind of, put in the spotlight again about like, what are you doing? Dude, Mike Brown helped this team get into the postseason. Mike Brown made the Kings competitive. And you have a slow start to the season in a year when they're projected to make the playoffs, and you can them? Now, the thing about all this which I found interesting, was the guy that's replacing him. Mm-hmm. And that was like, oh, okay, I get it a little bit. Doug Christie.
You always wonder what's going on behind closed doors during these times. The players didn't seem super distraught. Not that they're going to show it, but, we're going to get different reactions. Often people don't hold their feelings back in moments like this. And you will hear some outright criticism of front office, even if you're still with the team. Yeah. To me, it feels like I think Mike Brown is a great basketball mind, no doubt, right?
Great defensive mind.
But that's not the totality of what makes a good coach or successful coach. You could be the most brilliant basketball or sports mind in the world and not necessarily be a good or great head coach.
Yeah.
A great head coach connects with his players, and his players want to fight for him. There's a different level of emotion that a great head coach brings. And I learned this coaching myself personally. I wasn't the greatest baseball mind or football mind, but I think my skill was that I could walk in there without even, I don't even know all the rules in baseball necessarily, and could come in and win right away because I know how to connect to human beings, young men, and get them to want to fight and win by any means necessary, right? Maybe that was lacking with
Could
Brown.
be.
And there just wasn't the players, I'm not saying they weren't feeling him, but he didn't bring that. And I think that can happen with great basketball minds. You get frustrated, you start to be kind of maybe detach a little emotionally from the players instead of connect with them. Doug Christie brings that connection.
He does.
We need a guy that's just down to fight to the bitter end for the Sacramento Kings, and I think that's what Christie is. So I'm kind of okay with this just from the human being level.
Yeah, relationships, man. It's all about relationships. All of it. Everything's about relationships. De'Aaron Fox is a very interesting character in this whole development because he seems to be maybe one of the players that wanted Brown out. There's kind of been some rumblings and some grumblings about that. Fox didn't really have a lot of nice things to say about Brown when kind of in that press conference afterwards.
Or definitely emotionless about it.
Yeah, totally agree. And there's also some rumors circulating now that he wants a trade and he wants out, which would be catastrophic in terms of the Kings in the near future. So something happened with relationships, and I think you make a great point that perhaps the players weren't getting along with him, and that's why a change has been made, and Christie's going to bring it back.
I hope so. They got a nice win against Dallas yesterday, I believe, maybe 2 days ago. Granted, Luke is out.
Yeah, there was a couple. I think Kyrie missed that. I don't know.
Oh, did he? Okay, yeah, we'll see how we'll get into that more later.
Let's go, Cowtown.
I just
got to get going.
Shout out my basketball media darling of the week, Victor Wembanyama, going into the rainy chessboards of New York City.
That's so cool. Could you imagine?
So cool. Love that stuff. And
how many people do you think recognized him?
100%.
He's not small, so they're probably like, whoa.
Love that moment. Love him just being a Frenchman. He's a smart guy. He has this European kind of intellect, not to shit on Americans.
Chess is more popular over there, right?
Yeah, and he just has, I think he's given some political opinions or socio-political opinions. They're like, okay, yeah, this guy's,
he's a thinker.
He's like me. And
best buddies, Wemby and Derek.
Searching for Victor Wemby. You ever see that movie, Searching for Bobby Fischer?
Okay, I like it. Okay, there it is. That's the reference. I missed that. Now, thanks for bringing it back. I was like, searching for Victor Wemby. What the? Searching really for Waldo?
Also, the league is cooked. Wemby is here. It's evolution of man. It's
stay
just
healthy. Stay healthy.
Yeah. Kind of crazy.
Because you're so right, man. He is going to be insane.
The Spurs with Chris Paul are in now, and looks like they're going to be in playoff contention. And so he's going to be in MVP combos already maybe this year. I don't know. His stats are insane.
Yeah, the stats are.
Okay, we're going to close it out. We didn't get a chance to talk about Ricky last week. we have a new segment. What a life. We have 3 big passings this week, or 2 weeks. Ricky Henderson, and then Greg Gumbel, and President Jimmy Carter.
Yeah,
this
that's
week.
a big one.
Who would you like to say something about first?
Oh, I mean, all 3 of them, amazing. In terms of like impact, man, Ricky was huge on me growing up. You know, I was a huge Giants fan. You know, Dad instilled that in me, my brothers. But I rocked an Oakland A's hat as like a, 3rd, 4th grader, and that was all because of Ricky. You know, you talk about a guy so ahead of his time with the swag that he played with.
I was thinking about that.
I mean, he played with passion that you see nowadays from a lot of Latin-born players before like it was before anybody even played like that. And you know, he was so swaggy and sick with it. You know, hitting leadoff home runs and bat flipping, doing crazy routines with his batting gloves in between pitches, like telling people that he was telling first baseman, "I'm going to steal on this pitch." You know, just catching balls with his left-handed glove snap off the hip. Like, just played with a lot of enthusiasm and passion, and was somebody so fun to watch. Oakland native, got that game in his blood. Like, he was the man, dude.
I wonder how much of an impact he had on Dion as a person.
I'd say a lot.
A lot, right?
Yeah.
Never really thought about that until right now. Dion kind of, I'm sure, just looked at Ricky like, I'm that.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I want to be.
Agreed. They're so similar in how they played.
The word GOAT is like basically meaningless now. Everybody uses it, but he is the greatest base runner of all time.
Yeah.
Period.
And leadoff hitter, man. Scored a ton of runs, smashed a ton of leadoff home runs. I mean, so dynamic.
Yeah. NorCal, man. Love Oakland. I'm about to be there tonight, actually.
Let's go. Yeah, that one hurt, dude. That one made me feel old, man. I was like 65. I mean, he's young.
Pretty young. Yeah, my dad passed at 65 as well. It's a very young age. We're of an era.
Sorry to hear that, man.
Oh, thank you. Where we can live a long time now. So the future is very interesting. Just on the topic of death, we can go anywhere with this.
What a life.
Next, you are a sports broadcaster yourself, Greg Gumbel.
Yeah, exactly.
Huge presence in all of our lives as lovers of football and the college basketball tournament. Yeah. What do you think about when you think of Gumbel?
I think of just the unique style, man. And I think about his voice. You know, he was one of a kind. And definitely will be missed. Had a tremendous impact on me as well. Love listening to Greg Gumbel. Yeah, the Gumbel brothers, man. Bryant Gumbel. He was another good one.
Wow, that's another good one. A little more emotional just because it kind of hits home to who you are as a person, too. He's such a beloved guy. I mean, that guy made you feel comfortable. He made you feel safe.
Good one, yeah.
Like, just brilliant personality. You know what? Because I do like talk about kind of the meta stuff around these conversations. Like, what he made me think is like a lot of us, we strive for our legacy. Like, what are we going to be remembered by what we do? And it's like, is Greg Gumbel going to be? He's going to be remembered, yeah. But like, are we going to be talking about Greg Gumbel a lot in 5-10 years? Probably not. Like, who cares what you're remembered for? Just go after the life that you want while you're here. You know, you could have the most success in the world and maybe you won't be remembered much 5 years after you pass. Like, it's not really even about that. It's like, for some reason, that's what thinking about Gumbel made me go. Just like, I really admire the life that guy lived. Yeah. A lot.
Dude, the life.
And he did it. And I think my mind went there because, like, I don't know that he's not a guy that was searching for fame or searching for legacy. It's just like what he did. He was great at it. Enough said. Like, there was a real humility and modesty that came with him too. Just stand up, man. Yeah. Great guy. And and announcers are in our lives a lot. So we really get to know these guys intimately in one respect. Last, President Carter, does he, we're of the age where he was basically, when we were born is when when he
Yeah.
his presidency ended.
100 years old.
He's the president that kind of began our lives. Like, that's where it started, is with Carter, you know? And it's great that he lived this long. Any thoughts about President Carter?
A lot. To me, I go to what peers say, you know, like about people. Like his peers have a lot of nice things to say, or you know, there's not a lot of people that are, you know, of his age that are still alive. But when you look at like what Obama says, or like what other people, you know, share about Jimmy Carter, and they all have really nice things to say about him.
He's a smart dude. He's a true kind of academic progressive, I think. His stance on certain issues, there are some old clips about how he described the state of Palestine in relation to Israel and stuff that are like way modern in the criticisms today, like right in step with that. He, you know, clean energy, like he was all these topics that he was on in the late 70s that we're still kind of like struggling with like implementing today. There's like the infamous like installing solar panels on the White House that were then taken down. And then you get Reagan that comes in. I think I like that you brought up Obama because, you know, Carter to Reagan is kind of similar to like Obama to Trump. This like extreme pendulum. And by the way, we can close on this. For those that are really worried about, you know, January 6th is in 5 days now. We're going to officially transfer power. And there are a lot of, you know, Democrats and even Republicans alike that are there are varying degrees of fear with Donald Trump and what's actually going to happen. You know, is democracy going to die? Is it just this like oligarchy where it's just all just the rich rule, blah, blah, blah. America, presidential politics in America is defined by the pendulum. We are always swinging.
Yep.
You know, Reagan to Bush Sr., that was a 12-year period. That's actually really rare. Usually at the most you get 8 years and then it swings back.
Totally.
And we just do it every single time.
Yeah.
And I think, as complex as this is to even understand, that is the right, that is the smartest way to move forward. Probably. To constantly swing back.
Yeah. And
it feels scary in the moment because we're just going like, oh my God, what? Obama to Trump? Like, what? Like, as a human being, this is terrifying. And so I think Carter for us was the original one of that. And he gets so much criticism, and particularly for like conservative people, like this weakling or like he, you know, stupid, whatever. But
he was a caring, compassionate dude.
I think he was very wise, and I think he was a good man that represented our country very well as a human being, morally, ethically. What kind of person are you? Not necessarily a leader. What kind of person are you?
Right.
So, that's what I remember him by.
One real quick.
Yeah.
If Biden had won or Kamala had won, Democrats would have been in power like 16 of the last 20 years.
No, because Trump was 20 or 16 to 20.
4.
Oh, of the last 20.
Yeah, like after their right, like they would have had Obama would have been a 2-term. Then you go to Trump 1 term.
Right.
Biden, Kamala 2-term. 16 years right there. So you're talking about the pendulum.
Right.
So maybe maybe it's not going to be so bad, you know, for some of those people that think it is, and that, you know, progressing, moving forward, swinging back and forth, like you're mentioning. Perhaps it's, you know, the right time for a Republican and conservative to be the president.
One thing we know, the AC Sports Podcast is going to flourish in 2025. Trump or no Trump, baby.